Hey guys, Zomfox here, and it is time to talk about another Tank Bowl. That is right, the second edition of the UFL Tank Bowl has already happened, as it happened just yesterday between the Memphis Showboats and the Arlington Renegades. For those of you who didn't see it because it was on ESPN or just didn't bother watching it, I'm going to go over this game and just how crazy this Tank Bowl was, because yeah, it was even crazier than that Renegades versus Roughnecks one. And we have a potential third Tank Bowl coming in Week 10 as well. So we're off to a great start for you Tank Bowl fans. So let's get on right into it with the two contestants. Now, the two contestants both are vying to somehow stay alive in the playoff race. The Arlington Renegades are eliminated with either a San Antonio win or an Arlington loss, whereas the Memphis Showboats need to both lose and have Michigan win to be eliminated from the playoffs. So yes, both these teams could somehow survive this week, no matter the outcome, pending if Michigan and San Antonio both lose. But in terms of making the playoffs naturally, either team really doesn't have a shot. But let's just go on to it. Now, with the Memphis Showboats, they will be starting quarterback Troy Williams for this game. Case Cookis has been the starter for most of the year, aside from the 1 week which they decided to rest him because he was hurt. But aside from that, Cookis has been the starter the entire season. But T. Will has played in almost every game the past few weeks due to issues on the O-line and trying to fix the quarterback issue by putting in T. Will. Now, the team the past 4 weeks, I've talked about in many other videos, has been god-awful. The past 4 weeks, they've been blown out basically every single game. Even the game against the Battlehawks, which technically was kind of close, even that really was never a close game. As ever since that Brahmas loss where they choked one of the easiest games to win ever, they have been absolute trash. Now, their opponent, the Arlington Renegades, suffer from the fact that they just can't close out games. The one time Luis Perez did not play like a top 3 quarterback just happened to be against the Roughnecks. Aside from that, he's been a top 3 quarterback and has kept him in almost every game, including not 1, not 2, but 3 separate losses to last-second field goals. Game-winning field goals with the Battlehawks, Panthers, and Defenders all doing it to them, including just last week with the Panthers winning on a last-second field goal. So those are the two teams that are going in this game to vie for the worst team in the league. So let's see how the game went. The game starts with Arlington getting the ball at the kickoff, and they have a very solid return overall, getting all the way to the 46-yard line. They do a very, very concise, good drive to end with a touchdown to Sal Cannella, which will become a recurring theme for this game. The first touchdown completed, though the 2-point conversion did end up failing. After that, T-Will was able to actually get a drive going, but it did eventually get stopped, but Matt Conklin did make a 54-yard field goal to cut the lead in half to be 6-3. This would be basically the closest this game ever got. As after this, the quarter would end up ending, as it was overall a pretty long quarter with those drives. But as soon as the second quarter started, Luis Perez got another touchdown as he threw a great pass to Javonte Payton for a touchdown of a 24-yard TD to put it up to 12-3. And the 2-point conversion would be connected with Sal Cannella to make the score 14-3. And then just a few plays after that, Troy Williams would be intercepted at the Arlington 29-yard line, and Adewusi would end up having an incredible return, getting all the way to the other side's 24-yard line. And just as you would expect, the Renegades just 2 plays later put in a touchdown with Davion Smith rushing it for a 1-yard touchdown. And the 2-point conversion was completed because they decided to do a trick play with Davion Smith throwing the pass to Caleb Vander Esch for a 2-point attempt to make the game 22-3 in the second quarter. And after that, the game would end up being pretty poor for Memphis. Memphis would end up failing a bit, but they would get very lucky as after failing a 4th down attempt or having to punt the ball, it would end up being muffed by the Renegades. The Showboats would end up getting a touchdown thanks to that muffed punt, scoring a touchdown with Devion Davis getting a nice solid 14-yard touchdown. But they would fail the 2-point conversion, making the score 22-9. And after this, and after some kind of shenanigans overall, the Showboats will eventually get the ball back, but decide to go for it in 4th down in field goal range, and this would prove to cost them as they would fail the 4th down attempt, giving the ball to the Renegades in decent field position. And again, to the surprise of nobody, the Renegades would run out the clock and kick a 39-yard field goal to put up the score at 25-9 at the end of the half. The Showboats would get the ball after the halftime and would end up doing nothing but failing another 4th down attempt, this time doing a rush play that didn't end up working, with Adewusi doing another big play. And after that, the Renegades would go downfield and score another touchdown with Davion Smith running in another one. But they would fail the 1-point conversion, but now the score was 31-9 with half of the third quarter remaining. The Showboats would end up having to punt the ball, and after that, the Renegades would score another touchdown, with Javonte Payton getting another great touchdown catch as a 33-yard touchdown, and they would convert a 2-point conversion to Green for a 2-point conversion to make the score 39-9 in the third quarter. After this, the Showboats would finally do something on offense. Finally, even though it took them forever, they were able to do it thanks to a great return by Swin that put him at the 50-yard line, and a couple overall big plays, and T-Will would scramble for a touchdown and get the 2-point conversion, as during that, T-Will would get hurt and Cookus would be put back in, and Cookus' first play, he got the 2-point conversion, making it 39-17. And with that, that would be the end of the third quarter after the Renegades got a couple plays off. Then in the fourth quarter, the Renegades would end up by punting the ball, starting it, but the Showboats would end up doing nothing with their drive pretty much as well, because they would be intercepted as Cookus would throw an interception, and just a couple plays later, because of another great return by the Renegades defense, the Renegades would be able to score another touchdown, this time with Perez throwing to Canella again for a touchdown, as well as completing the 2-point conversion to Burnett to make the score 47-17. And after that, the Showboats would do nothing but go for it on fourth down again and fail it. Now, there would be a forced fumble for the Renegades, which the Showboats would get, and the Showboats did end up getting a touchdown, with Papelli scoring a touchdown, but failed the 3-point conversion, making it 47-23. Now, afterwards, they would fail the 4th and 12. They had a penalty, but they still ended up failing it, making it the second fail of the season, making it overall 3 of 5 for the season. And the Renegades would knee the ball out to end the game. So that is the end of this game. And the stats for it are pretty crazy when you look at it. When you look at the overall stats, the 47 points the Renegades put up is the single most points scored by any team this entire UFL season, and one of the highest in all of modern-day spring football history. In terms of total yardage, while the Showboats were kind of close, only being down 100, the Renegades put up over 400 total yards, and the Showboats 0 for 3 on fourth downs, and their not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 separate turnovers really hurt them. Even though the Renegades did muff a punt, they still were able to easily pull off this game in what is one of the biggest blowouts of the entire season. This game pretty much showed exactly why the Showboats are the worst team in the league, and why the Renegades are much better than their record says. Now, while they aren't a top team, they are a team that has played very good teams close, the Battlehawks and Panthers especially, and considering the fact that this game happened the way it did, yeah, it's pretty clear the Showboats are the worst team in the league, and pending what happens in the Michigan game earlier today, the Showboats will be eliminated from making the playoffs, and so could the Renegades if San Antonio wins. But at least for this day, the Renegades did win the Tank Bowl. Now, for you Showboats fans, there is some solace. You now control your own destiny to getting the number 1 overall pick. If you lose in Week 10 to the Roughnecks, you will clinch the number 1 overall pick if you lose out. So there is that solace for you Showboats fans. So good luck, and as always, subscribe to the channel if you're new here. We do multiple videos a week, and be ready for the next Tank Bowl, and as always, have a great night.